after working for 2 months, it's very obvious that if we have 1 or 2 practices a week before the game, we must be very efficient and we need to have our practice to be very effective. And let's start with talking about what is effective practice session. So I'm asking you, what is an effective practice session, and how would you know that you have an effective practice session?
Priorities for the practice.
Okay, priorities for practice.
Don't waste time.
Okay, so that is efficiency. So efficiency and effectiveness are not exactly the same, right? So yes, we want to be efficient, but we want to be effective with our practice sessions.
The drills are designed in a way that you're building on the skill or concept that you want to get better at.
Okay. Okay, so for me, an effective practice is if you constantly see what you work on in practice being executed in games. That's the goal. The goal is to have our players play better. So if we do something in practice and then we see it happening consistently in games, our practice is effective. Because what we want to work on happens in games. And this is why we are working. We want our players to do things that they do in practice in games. Are we in agreement with that, or okay, right? This is why we are working, right? We want our players to do what we are doing in practice in games. So if that is effective practice, so why not do 5-on-5 the whole practice long? I mean, it is well known in research that the best retention from practice to games is if you do things like if you play games, you will have it. If you practice like you play, of course there will be good retention from practice to games. So why not playing 5 versus 5 the whole practice long? I mean, this will definitely give us the best results. And again, I am referring to go to look up Rob Gray, Google Rob Gray. You will see he's the #1 scholar for skill acquisition science in sports in the world, and he has this table where every new study that is out is on his table, and for sure the new ecological way and the new skill acquisition science is for sure much better than the technical, the old technical way of doing things. And for sure, the better retention is from game-like drills. So these give us better retention for sure from drills to games. So why not play 5 versus 5 the whole practice?
Need skills. Need to
Okay.
break down the game.
Okay.
Because before we want to read the book, we need to know about the board or.
Okay. 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 Other reasons? Why not play 5 against 5?
If you gamify drills, like change the way that the game is played, you can sometimes get a more desired outcome.
Okay, that's right. What else?
At least for academy,
Okay. Okay.
fewer reps.
Okay, great. So you said it all. So there is low number of repetition for each player if we just go 5 against 5. Okay. There is low number of repetition for certain elements. Let's say we want to work on boxing out and we will play 5 against 5. Then we will have a shot every 30 seconds, which is not a lot. Okay. So we want to work on something else. We want to work on pick and roll defense. We might play 5 against 5, and 10 possessions in a row, we will have no pick and roll. So, and what you said Sherman, it could be hard for beginners. Like 5 against 5, it's going to be hard for them. So what the solution is? The solution is game-like drills, or what we call small-sided games. Okay, so they can deal with all of those problems, and we can do those and have very effective practice. So we see what we work on in practice, we will see it in games. So let's talk about the main elements that there are in games that we want to have in practice. As many elements as we will have in every drill, the better retention we will have. So it will be more game-like, and it will pass to the game better. So what are the elements of the game? I will give an example, okay? So the first is, I'm talking really what's happening in the game. So there are many options for different actions, right? When a player gets the ball, he can shoot, he can drive, he can pass, right? He can do a lot of things. A player without the ball, he can cut right, he can cut left, he can go screen. A defensive player, he can go for a steal, he can stay low, he can box out, he can run for fast break. So there are always many options for different actions. There is never, except for one situation in the game, a situation where the player has only one option. What is the only situation in game where a player has only one option? Free throws. Free throws. We know what he's going to do. For sure he's going to take the free throw. Other than that, he always has many options. Okay? What other elements of the game can you think of that we want to replicate in practice in small-sided games, so it will be as representative to the game as possible? Competition, great, which means
that there's like an end goal or an objective.
Okay, very good, that's right. Objective and goal. What else competition brings with it? Struggle, that's right. Any other ideas? Okay, so the chosen options are determined by the information obtained from the game. So the player will not decide to go right or left because this is what he wants. He will decide to do so because here there will be no defender and here there are defenders. He will decide to shoot or to penetrate according to the information that is obtained from the game. And that is really crucial because many studies show that maybe the biggest difference between elite level athletes and good level athletes are in this thing. Elite level athletes, they obtain much more information from the game than good level athletes. And that is one of the biggest differences between a good and mediocre athletes. So the intention is clear, as you said, Greg. Every action counts in the game. So if you give lazy passes, or the dribble is weak, or you don't tag, we will pay for that. I mean, you cannot jog to defense and things will be okay, right? You cannot give lazy passes and things will be okay. If you mess up, then we will pay for that. It has consequences. And that is very important. And the next thing is, there is time pressure. Unless you play in Seattle, yes? There is no time pressure there. But there is time pressure. And those two, they make the sense of urgency. So in games, there is always sense of urgency. There isn't even one possession unless you are up by 20 a minute to the end of the game. Unless this is the situation, there is always sense of urgency, and it is also something that is very important in games. And things happen one after the other. There are hardly ever pauses, and if there is a pause, it's because the referee makes a call. Other than that, no pauses. You need to be able to work simultaneously and do things one after the other. So these are the 6 elements that we want to look for in every drill. And drills that have more of those elements will be more game-like, and the chance that we will see what the players are doing in practice, in games, will be higher. And as we have less of those elements in our drills, the less chance we have to see what we are working on in games. Okay? So if, for example, we tell the player, hey, on this cone, you change direction like this, and then you finish with your left hand. What's the problem with that? According to this, only one option, right? There's only one option. He knows in advance what he's going to do. It never happens in games. Never. That you know in advance what you are going to do. Okay? And sometimes you see players that made a decision to dribble before they got the ball, and usually it's disastrous because it has no connection to what they should do, and they just dribble into their defender with nothing. So, and also what you said, so there is no information of why to go from right to left. Why do that? Okay, so those 6 elements, the more you have them in drills, and it's not always possible to have all of them, but the more you have all of them in your practice, the better chance you have to see what you are working on happening in games. Okay, so the practice should look like, we said, many repetitions. This is why we are not playing 5 against 5. So we must have many repetitions if we want to see things happening in games like in practice. If we won't have many repetitions, it won't see. And game-like drills, like we said. So let's start by talking about many repetitions. So the first thing we want to do is have a good work-to-talk ratio. And yesterday I saw
a team practice.
And the work-to-talk ratio there was about 40% work. 40% work. Now think about the kids who are coming after they've been to school the whole day. Is this what they want? To hear the coach talking? No, they don't. And also, if they are working only 40% of the time, how many repetitions do they get in such a practice? So we want to strive for 85%. It's hard to get to 85%. It's very hard to get to 85%. But this is what we want to strive for. Okay? Now, let's do an exercise. Let's do an exercise. Yes, thank you. Let's pick up a subject and think that we are talking to our players, and take 1 minute to explain what we want to the players. Okay? Because in the first 30 seconds, we have the attention of all of the players. Unless there is a kid that never listens, it can happen. First 30 seconds, you have all of them. Next 30 seconds, I would guess 85 to 90% of the players are still with you. After 1 minute that you talk and they don't do anything, you are starting to lose players 1 every 2 seconds. And you just need to look at the players to see what I'm talking about. Just look at them. Okay? Sit outside of a practice and look at the players. So we want to get our message through in 1 minute. This is the time that we have. And also, what happened in games? How much time do we have to communicate with our players? 1 minute tops, right? In a timeout, if the referee is not rushing home, right? So it gives us the whole minute. So we need ourselves to exercise our ability to communicate effectively with the player in 1 minute. Also, what it does, if we give the message in 1 minute, it doesn't only save time, it also forces us to prioritize. What are the most important things that you need to do? And that is very, very important. We will get to that in a second. And also, it helps achieve clarity. If you give 7, 8 things, so one player will get 3, the other player will get 2 different subjects, the 3 other players will understand 3 other things, you won't get any unity and there is no clarity. And it also really, I'm all the time amazed by how players understand things differently than I think they do. So I can ask a player, we can ask a player that we have, you are video filming me, so I won't say his name. So we have a player, and I was sure he's understanding what I'm talking about, and only very late we understood that he's not understanding what we want from him. We are not clear enough with him, and it is our responsibility as coaches to have clarity in the team for all the players. So let's do this exercise. Let's pick a subject. Pick a subject that now you are working on. You can use the examples I give, so or something else, whatever you want.
Jumping into the gap.
Okay, jumping into the gap. Great. Now take 1 minute, Greg. You have 1 minute. We are all your players, and you need to give us the instruction. Okay, we are now before a drill. You want to work on jumping with the ball, and now you have 1 minute to explain it to us. Ready? Let me know when you are ready. Ready, go.
So what's very important is that you are active when you are not guarding the ball. So that means that when the ball moves, you move. You need to be 1/3 towards your man, 2/3 towards the ball, and you want to be in the gap early. You do not want to be in the gap when the ball is coming towards you. From there, you want to make sure that you are open to the ball. You can see your man and the ball at the same time. You want the inside hand towards the ball to be active, to make a play on the ball, and the other hand to be in the laser hand to make sure that we can disrupt any pass.
Okay, 44 seconds. Good. What do you think about that? Pretty good, I think. Pretty good. Did we have a clear intention? What do we want to achieve? Why do you want me to be in the gap? Why?
You want to influence the ball when you're not guarding the ball. So there was no, I didn't state a clear intention. That probably would have been a great place to start. That we are in the gap because we want to influence the ball when we are not guarding the ball.
Great.
That's why we are here.
Okay, great. So the first thing we want is the intention. Why? And what do we want to achieve? What do we want to achieve and why do we want to achieve that? Why do we want to box out? Why? The players do not understand. Had they understood, they would have done that all the time. Okay? So we need to have a clear intention all the time. Why? And the key points to focus on. And there are many key points, but our job is to focus the players on 2, 3, 4 points that we can do when we are dealing with the subject. Okay? So, intention, what is the goal? Why are we doing it? And what are the key points to focus on? And we have no more than 1 minute. 1 minute. That's the maximum time that you have. After that, you are talking, no one is listening. Or for sure, not all the players are listening. Okay? So we need to remember that. That is very important. And we need to strive to 85 to 50% work to talk ratio. So they have many repetitions. Second thing, yes.
Is this something that you have any studies that point out? Because I think we all get the sense that, hey, if we go on for 5 minutes, people are going to be tuning out, and yes, we probably have their attention at the very beginning. Is there much evidence sort of looking at that, or is that kind of anecdotal to say, hey, 1 minute your time?
This is from viewing practices. No, it's not backed up with empirical numbers. No, but yes, I invite you, and it is very clear. You can see the players. You know that they are listening when they are looking right into the coach's eye, right? But when they're starting to play with the ball and to look here and to talk with their friends, it's obvious they're not listening, right? So all you need to do is observe. Okay?
How does that differ between ages and
That is correct. That is correct. The younger the kids are, the less they will be able to listen, for sure, no doubt about it. But I think all of our attention span is much, much, much shorter these days than it was before the iPhones and the screens and everything. So if they find no interest in that, they lose you even quicker. Okay, and we lose them even quicker. So yeah.
So is there more like typically teaching is always going to we're going to teach it full to stop and then do the drill and we might pull a kid out to the side opposed to hey we're going to chunk this where we're going to give 2 key points, 1 key point immediately. We're going to go do the drill and we're going to stop it after 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yes, I think that's the best way. I think that is the better way, right? This is what we are doing in the team. We are taking it one step after the other. We know that if we will try to cover too many things at once, we will lose everything. So we start small and we see that the concept is understood and we see that it is going okay, and only then we will move on to the next concept. Yes.
Out of town, but it's just like it's more stopping and starting, which you could then just in terms of managing the number of kids, 16 kids or whatever, just like we're gonna go, we're gonna talk, and then just to get their attention back from the competing, learning, back to competing for a long time.
Yes. Okay. If they are competing hard and the drill is built correctly, and I will talk about it in a second, and they are very tired, pulse is high, now it's the time to call them back in again. 1 minute where they are all tired, they have no power to talk to their friends or something like that. Okay, they are exhausted already. 1 minute, in this minute of recovery, you put in another thing and then you go back again. So this is, I think, the way it should be done. Okay, but I think I'm relating to that in a little while. Okay, so second thing, so we do not lose time. Small number of drills in each practice. No need to have 10 drills. Small number of things, small number of drills, and we code them. Okay? And when the drills are game-like, the variation is there. We don't need to have variations of drills because the game is chaotic. Every time it's something different. If it's game-like, it's a variation drill. Okay? Transition in the drill from offense to defense, team that is outside, teams that is inside, should be very quick. We should not lose time there. Okay? And in every second of the drill, we want to have as many players as possible working the same time. So the working, not working ratio, like players that are working, players that are waiting to their turn, should be at least 50-50. And we can even desire to have 2/3, 1/3. So one-on-one drills, though we really must do them at times, we need to find a way that it is quick, it happens quickly, changes are happening quickly, the possessions are short and intense, and if we have too many players not working at the same time, that's a problem. And we stop and talk only to refocus the guys. Yes, so we only stop and talk to the whole team to refocus them, and we will relate to that later. So the drill should be a drill that forces the players to do what we want them to do. Okay? And I will give some examples when we'll go on the court. So if we want to work on dribbling, we will have a defender chasing you. So you dribble fast and hard and not taking your time. Because whenever we work on dribbling without defense, there is no clear intention. Hey, what am I doing here? So the player will, and you will see that he will start doing it like he would never do that in games. Never. He'll have slow dribbles. He won't. He won't pound the ball hard. It will be high dribbles because there is no intention. Whenever there is no intention and the players do not understand what the goal is, immediately the execution falls dramatically to a level that will not be uh, um, applicable to games. Okay? Yes.
You've obviously seen players transition from youth to professionals. Do you feel like that's true for all people, all levels?
As I told Greg in the last session, professionals are able to imagine and see the game situation at a much, 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 much better rate than young kids. So that gives them a big advantage. And for them to work without defense, of course, also because they don't want to get injured. Okay, when I was assistant coach for the pro team, what they told me immediately, hey, whatever you do, don't injure our players. Don't make them injured. Okay? So you are afraid to work with defense. But professionals understand exactly what you are working on, sometimes even better than you do. So there is value for that. But for young kids, most of the time, if they do things, they cannot see the big picture of how is it going to look in games.
Maybe that's one of the reasons they made that mistake over and over.
Because we see professionals. Exactly. We see Steph Curry like doing that and shooting, of course, but you can see him when he practice. You can absolutely see him imagining the play. It's clear that this is what he's doing in his head, and young players cannot do that. Okay. And let's say if we want to work on communication, okay, so the drill needs to create a situation where the players must communicate. If they will not communicate, there will be a free player on offense. We will lose them because we are not communicating. Hey, who is taking this guy? Who is taking this guy? And if they're not doing it, it's their problem. They will keep on losing all the time. So it shouldn't be a thing that we are begging for the players. Hey, communicate, communicate, communicate. Because also there is no intention there. Why to communicate? Why? There must always be intention. Why? Why do that? Okay? And please, I remind you again, the players have a very different picture in their head of what the game looks like. We have vast experience, some as players, some as coaches, and we have a pretty detailed picture of how the game looks like. The players do not. And as they are more young, they see it even in less detail. Okay? Now, ourselves in practices. We are coaches and not teachers. And this is very different. You said at the beginning we start with words, right? And then with letters, and then we go to words. And this is correct when we are talking about challenges that happen in the classroom, where we face the challenge, we have time to obtain information that was previously gained through lessons, through reading. We have time to obtain it, okay, to draw it, and to use it. Game and skills are not like that. We don't see a player, hey, what did the coach tell me to do when I see a player? To put my leg here, to bring the... It doesn't work like that. Think of yourselves. Okay? Think of yourselves. You are unable, there is no time to draw information that you've learned and to use it. Okay? So things should be instinctive. They should be instinctive. That's the only thing that happens. Okay? So we are not teachers, we are coaches, and there is a big difference. We are not teaching the game, we are coaching the game. So we do not want to isolate the action. We want to isolate the player's attention. So if we are working on boxing out, whenever there is a shot, the game will be played and the drill will have all the elements of the game. We won't just make the players stand, okay, you stand here and you stand there, and a third guy will take the shot and you will go and box him out. Okay, this is isolating the action. This has very little chance of transferring to the game. Very little chance, because the problem is not going and facing the player, creating contact and then boxing. This is not the problem. The problem is to do it after you saw the ball and then you move to your player and then you defended cut and then a shot is taken when you don't even see it because you are with your player. Now do that. That's the main issue here. So we want to isolate that tension. We want the kids to play regular game, and our job is to focus them on the things that we want to improve. This is our job. Isolating their attention, not the actions. Okay? So before every drill, we know what we are looking on. I am, as a coach, I know what to look for. I'm not, and I know that I'm going to see many mistakes. Many. I know that. But I know that I'm not going to talk about them. Because if I do that, I defocus the players. And the most important thing in order to create habits and to create instinctive play is your focus, the player's focus. And if the player is focused on something, he will do that all the time. And if he's not, and he doesn't know what to focus on, it's going to be hard to see that happening consistently. Okay? So you need to know before a drill is going to happen, and this is what we do. We always, okay, now you take tag. You will take box out. I will take man-to-man defense. For me, after 30 years of coaching, it's almost impossible to look at also defense and offense at the same time. I cannot do that. I cannot. I can only see 2-3 elements at the same time. And this is what I'm responsible of. This is the focus of the players now. Okay? And if we have a player that is capable, that is already in a higher level, okay, for him we can broaden the scope a bit more and talk to him about other things. That's okay. But it is only individually, like Will. He, on defense, he is in a very high level player. So we can talk to him, hey, look at this thing, look at that thing, focus on this, focus on that. Okay? But if we start talking to them about too many things, we are defocusing them and making it very hard for them to create new habits. Okay? That is a big one. We need to hold our players accountable. So let's say we had a game Saturday. I asked the player to play slow. We were up by 4-6. The game was in the last quarter. I asked him to play slow. We're fast breaking. We turn the ball over. Next possession. Hey, slow. We are running. We turn the ball over. Third possession in a row. Hey, slow down, slow down. We are running. Third turnover in a row. What are the possible reasons for players to do that? You tell them something, they don't do. What could be the reasons?
Not clear on what you're saying.
Okay, not clear. Great. First option, it's not clear. They don't understand what you want. So, if they are nervous, what does it mean? Okay, so they are not focused. Right? They're not focused. You want them to do something, but their minds are somewhere else. And they are not focused on that. Okay, coach said to slow down, but I see a player here is not ready, I want to run. I'm focused on something else, not on what the coach said. So that's the second reason. Okay? Not focused. What else? Not clear, not focused.
Habits.
What do you mean?
You know, they've been asked to do something one way for so long. This sounds situational.
Great.
Their habits are to do one thing.
Okay, great. So they are falling back to old habits, which means they are lazy. Lazy. I'm used to going fast. Now the coach wants me to stop, or I'm used to when a shot is taken, go to get the to fast break, and I'm not boxing out. I'm used to that. Change takes a lot of effort, and change of habits takes even more effort. So it's very, very hard to change habits if you are not fully committed. So they are lazy. And I told you last time, human beings are lazy. That's okay. It's inherent. That's fine. I have no problem with that. We need to know that human beings are lazy. Okay? So not clear, not focused, lazy. What else?
Caring more about what they want and what the coach.
Great. They think they know more. They are smarter than the coach. The coach that could be, or as you said, okay, the coach thinks of the team, but I'm thinking of myself. Okay, so he told me to pass the ball, but I want to score. So they think more of themselves than of the team. Great. What else? So we lost focus, right? So they are not focused, right? Yeah, not focused. And I think, and I think this is big because we are in Canada. Maybe they think it's a recommendation. It's not something that the coach demands. It's a recommendation. Why do I say maybe it's because we are in Canada? Because I think there is something in the culture here. Like I get tons, I told you, tons of emails from the school. Do that, and you need to be here, and you need to be there, and you need to come with a red shirt, and you need to, but no follow up. So at the beginning, we were so stressed out. Hey, we need to buy this shirt and this shirt, and that. But then we saw that no one is following up. So if we don't do that, that's okay. It's more of a recommendation than it is a demand. And I think maybe you tell me you know much better than I do. But I think maybe it is something in the culture here. Maybe. So they don't relate to what you say as a demand. They think it's a recommendation. So all of these are reasons, possible reasons for the players not to do what you ask them to do. So we can say, hey, box out, player will not box out. Box out, not boxing out. Stay low, not staying low. Don't jump, jumps. What can we do when it happens? We ask the player to box out, he does not. We ask him again, he does not. Third time, he does not. What to do? What will you do? Subs, okay, excellent. Sub is a very good tool. And for sure in games, you have this tool all the time. Even though back home, you wouldn't even be on the court. Here, okay, everyone needs to play, that's great. But even we have this rule and this limitation, okay, the fact that you need to play doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. And if you don't do as I say 2-3 times, you are out. Great. But let's talk about practice. Let's leave games for now. Let's talk about practice. You have a practice session, you ask them to box out, you ask them to communicate, you ask them to stay low, and they don't. What do you do?
Design a drill that changes the objective. So, like in the boxing out example, watching the ball when the shot goes up instead of making contact with your man. Design a drill where when the shot goes up, the objective is not to get the ball. The objective is to keep your man from getting in the paint,
Okay.
getting in the charge circle.
Okay, great.
And all of a sudden, we're changing the outcome.
Great. Okay, so that's one option. One option I see they don't do. I will force them to do that with a different intention. Okay, I will have a different intention. That's the whole goal. If they don't box out, so they do not understand the game, right? Okay, good. One option. Okay, great. Great. So the first thing is, hey, wait. I asked you 3 times to box out. You didn't. Why? Why? Do you understand what I say when I box out? So is it not clear to you? Do you want to show me how it's done? So that's great. So the worst thing we can do is just ignore it. He's not doing what we want, and we are okay with that. If we do that, why should the player make an effort? Why? There are so very little amount of players will do everything that you tell them to do and will work for the team and will be so coachable that everything that you say they will do, right? We know that. We know that. So the first thing is to stop. Hey, guys, I asked you 3 times to box out. You didn't. Why? Do you understand? Great. Show me. Next time, what's the excuses? Oh, hey, I asked you 3 times. You showed me you know exactly what I mean. Come on, let's do that. And now there are different variations of being less and more aggressive and demanding from the players. Of course, when we are dealing with younger kids, I will not go much further than that, but I will hold them accountable. I will make them feel that they are doing something wrong. Hey, I'm asking you to box out and you are not. Please do. And we can change the tone a little bit. Yes, we can. That's okay. We shouldn't shout. We shouldn't call them names, of course. But of course, we should hold them accountable. And as they are older, we can be a bit more aggressive. And I asked Eric the last game if I was too aggressive, because after asking him 3 times to play slowly, I took a timeout and I lost it. I was very aggressive.
I think you got the attention of some parents who are watching.
Yes, that's right. This grandma is still yes. Yeah, exactly. This grandma that's right. Yes, but it did what I wanted it to do. Right? Yeah. Okay. So we must hold them accountable. We must. If it's important for us, hold them accountable. If it's not important, if you say something and it's not important, then what? Don't say it. Thank you very much. Because every time that you ask the players to do something and you don't follow up and you don't hold them accountable, they think, hey, okay, so coach said. So you can create big damage to yourself if you are asking something that is not important and you are not going to hold them accountable for. Because you are confusing them. They don't know if this is for real or not for real. Coach is holding me accountable here, but not here. So he is not consistent. So say little and hold them accountable for that. Whatever you demand, and you want them to do that. Okay. We want to maximize every drill and possession, which means even if we have like a shooting drill, we go for a shooting drill. So the passes for the shooting drill are important. I mean, why lose that opportunity to work on our passes? Okay, and I'll not go into details more because we don't have much time. We want to allow free exploration and mistakes out of the focus area. So if we are focusing on boxing out and pressuring the ball, we are going to let them do almost whatever they want out of that. Okay? And if we see that there is a problem that is hurting us as a team consistently, then we need to work on different things. This is our job, to understand what is hurting us the most and what are the most important things to focus on. So outside of the focus area, the players can do almost whatever they want, unless we see there is some consistent problem that we need to deal with, and it needs to enter the focus area. Okay? And in the focus area, which is pretty narrow, we will not allow laziness, not being focused, okay, not thinking about the team. We will not allow it, okay, in those areas. So we are actually the guardians of the focus. This is our job, to keep the players focused where we want them to be and to keep them accountable on that. So the last slide, some helpful questions that I think will help have effective practice sessions. And now we will do that. We will go on the court and we will think every drill about those 6 elements of the games. So how many elements of the games are in this drill? 3, 4, 5, 6. The more, the better. Not always you can reach all of them, okay? The less you have, the less effective the drill is. If we have little elements, what is our goal? So we can have drills that are without defense or without many options, but we need to know what we will gain from that. We will gain from that confidence, which is important. Sometimes the players lack confidence and you want them to feel confident, so you will let them do things without defense. But that is the main goal. And sometimes you want to avoid burnout. The players are tired, they hear you too much, and when you are a coach that demands accountability, they will be tired at some point, and you will need to find ways to avoid this burnout. So then there is a good time, okay, let's do something else today, let's do something more easy, that's okay. But you need to know what you can achieve from that, okay? And so during practice, what is the player's pulse? Always ask yourself, what is the player's pulse? If it's below 120, that's not good. They are sitting the whole day in the classroom. They came to practice to run, to move, to jump, to play. If their pulse is below 120, it's not so good, okay? How many repetitions do my players have? On shooting drills, and Greg knows that I love to count, when we are doing drills with defense, we get about 2 repetitions per player per minute. Okay? If we are doing shooting drills without defense, we get around 4 to 5 repetitions a minute per player. So don't get less than that, okay, on drills. And so if we have 90 minutes of practice and we want to have 85% work time, we're left with how many minutes? 85% of 90 minutes, how much is it?
1 hour 10. Oh, 70 minutes.
70 minutes, good. Now we said we want to have at least 50% work to rest times in drills, right? So let's say how many are left? 55 minutes. No, 110, that's 70, 35 minutes, right? Are you all with me? Because we said we have 90 minutes of practice, 20 minutes we talk. We stop, we talk, they drink, 20 minutes. So we have 85%, around 85% of go time. Out of this go time, we have half of the players play, half are outside, and then they switch. So every player should have around 35 minutes of go time, right? Right? If we have 2 to 4 repetitions per minute, we want to have the players at least 70 repetitions of practice. That's the minimum. So I give you an exercise. Pick a player, pick a player, and count how many repetitions he has in practice. Okay? I like doing that a lot. It really amazes me how little repetitions the players get. But for sure, you want this number to be as high as possible.
What do you mean by repetition?
Okay, if we play 3-on-3 and he's playing, that's a repetition, even if he didn't touch the ball. Like he played.
You're playing a 2-possession game.
Yes.
You would say that's 2 repetitions.
That's right. That's right. That's 2 repetitions. Because he played, right? He moved without the ball, he boxed out, he played defense, he cuts. So that's, of course, a repetition. Okay? If we aim to do something with the ball, like we are working on our dribbling, then only when he dribbles, that's a repetition, right? Right? Yeah. Okay? So count. And count and ask yourselves, what is the work to talk ratio in my practice and how many players are working or not working at the same time. So these are always good questions to ask yourself during practices to make sure that your practice sessions are effective. Okay? Any questions, comments before we go up?
I have a question about sort of relating back to being a coach, not a teacher. Is there any part of you that when you and I don't know whether we discussed how much you worked with sort of 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, but all of us in this room at one time or another, some still are working primarily with people being introduced. How much differentiation do you see there, and how much applies of what we talked about in terms of not teaching those,
Okay, what will you teach them? What will you teach them?
Typically, we've taught them, hey, here's the fundamental skills of passing, shooting, dribbling, more isolation than you.
I'll ask you this. They will play 7, 8, 9. They will have games in the practice. They will play 3-on-3, 4-on-4.
Most of the players we're talking about in that context, I'm referring more to people who, let's say, are in our skill development type of programs that, let's say, 90-minute practice. Yes, we'll get them some game time at the end. But
which means they can dribble, they can pass, they can shoot, right? They can do that. But they don't do it well. So why aren't they doing it well? Because they don't know where to put their right foot, their left foot, or because they are not focused on certain elements that you want them to do. Like when passing, give hard passes. Pass away from the defender. Do you really need to show them how to bring this leg and your foot to this place and pass the ball from here technically? Or is it something you just need to focus them on? What is the problem? If the problem is, hey, this guy, he cannot dribble, he doesn't understand how to dribble the ball, then I'm not sure I can help him. And maybe he shouldn't be playing basketball. There should be a minimum level of capability to run, to catch, to shoot, to pass in order to play. And if a player is unable to do those very fundamental skills, I'm not sure that I am the one to. I really don't know how to help those guys. I don't. And I've tried. Okay?
I didn't start out dribbling.
Exactly. We are great. Human beings are great at adapting and adjusting. This is what we do best. Give us the right mission to do, we will find a way to do that. And if there are problems, our job as coaches is, hey, you are not focused on what? What aren't you focused on? It's not that I need to show you where to put your foot or where to dribble. I can tell you, hey, you are not protecting the ball from the defender. This is why you are turning the ball over all the time. So let's think, how can you defend the ball from the defender? How can you protect the ball from the defender? Okay, dribble closer to your body. And now focus only on that. Dribble closer to your body. This dribble was away from the body, dribble closer. So it's about focusing the players. It's not about teaching them. And really, I tried for many, many, many years to help players with their shooting skills and move your elbow in or out. I tried so much with so little success. So little success. So maybe the problem lies with me. Good chance, good chance. But maybe that's not the way to do it. And maybe like in shooting, I can tell a player, hey, focus on looking at the far side of the rim so you don't take your head back. So that's a problem. Like a player here, I just told him, and I think it's helping him. Like he took his head backwards all the time, so all his misses were short. So just focus on where you are looking at. It's not teaching, it's focusing. Okay?
Especially when you're talking about lower level players, just giving a bigger advantage.
That's right.
So I don't know if you want to talk about
That's right.
that.
That's right, and we will show it up there when we have players that are less skilled and are more beginners. We will just give them bigger advantages to play, and through that they will improve and learn and become better. Exactly, and I will show it here just that everyone understands. Anything else? Okay, so we will go upstairs. I'll show a few drills. I want you to think of the 6 elements of the game and how many elements in every drill are there. And then maybe you will show some drills and we will try to talk about that, about the drills. Okay? So thank you for your attention.